So thank you, Lehman, for being here with me today. Pretty much like I said, the basis of this call, just get a recap of where you were before and then kind of where you guys are now with the desired state in with your vacation rental. So
Okay.
first, you give just a little background on you and briefly describe your business, who you guys help, how long you guys been doing it, and like the unique value you guys bring to the market.
Okay. Hey, so thanks a lot, Yusuf. I appreciate you wanting to talk to me. It's actually the first time anyone's ever reached out to do something like this, so I appreciate the call. Just a quick background. I'm active duty Army officer. I live in Hawaii. I've got a couple buddies who I started a business with out in Atlanta, Georgia. Just a real estate investment company. When we first started, we didn't really know what we were doing, to be honest. We kind of learned as we went and, did a lot of research, reading, talking to people, and decided that this was a space we wanted to get into. Not only for, kind of future investment portfolio and gains, but just because of where the market was at the time and the benefit that it has had on other people's businesses, and actually, our long-term goal of creating generational wealth is where we're kind of leaning. So we started this company. We're actually on our second company, the one with just Jimmy and I, but we started our company a year and a half ago and didn't acquire our first property until like 6 months after we started the company. We kind of laid the foundation and tried to learn as much as we could before we bought our first property. And, the whole thing with our company at first was, hey, kind of what are we going to start? What is our niche? What's our area going to be? Is it going to be long-term rentals, short-term rentals, Section 8 rentals, multifamily? There's so many different spaces that you can kind of jump into. And we ended up landing on short-term rentals, more of a high risk, high reward type investment. If you think about how aggressive we're trying to be, we're still pretty young. We're willing to put more cash up front, more time, more energy to try and have a higher gain. And that's what short-term rentals brought to us, right, initially. So kind of jumping into that, we bought our first place. It's the Beecher Residence out in Atlanta. And the way we found it was actually just through our real estate agent. Found the property, went and checked it out, and it happened to be a Airbnb property beforehand. So biggest thing that we're always looking for is efficiency and how quickly we can turn that property into something that's profitable. And that was a great opportunity. We saw that, we were like, we didn't even know this existed. It was like this person had been operating the Airbnb for, I don't know, a few years. It had been very successful. And she was willing, after we talked to her and discussed our goals, she was willing to sell it to us fully furnished, turnkey, with everything that came along with it. So all of the furniture, her listing, all of the existing bookings, even the guy across the street who watches over the home for her, and then also her cleaning company. So we were like, oh my gosh, this is a massive opportunity. So we jumped on it immediately. And that kind of leads me into our first experience with the cleaning company that we had before. And it was just one lady, and she had been cleaning the house, doing the turnover service, for years. And we got in contact with her, and it was a very good, easy transition. She didn't speak a lot of English, so we had a little bit of a barrier there. But as far as getting us started, oh man, it was perfect. Like we rolled in, we did everything on our own in the beginning, right? So like
Okay.
built the listing, uh, managed all the bookings, all the guest communication, coordinating with the cleaner, any maintenance, all of that stuff we did. And it's kind of you know, it was a blessing because we were kind of forced to learn, you know, we were, it was trial by fire in those first few months. But um, after a few months, the problems started to arise, right? We started to have, issues with guests. We started to have issues with the cleaning company, and it was becoming extremely stressful. And then at that point, we um, that's when we started looking around. We started trying to find the Yusuf out there.
Okay.
But
Before you
yeah,
dive any deeper, so from the beginning, um, before we engaged, you guys started with the cleaners who was with the turnkey property.
sure.
She was just already included. And then you guys were pretty much trying to do every job along with her, from maintenance, bookings, handle communication with the guests. That's what everything that you guys were trying to do.
Yeah, we did all of that in the beginning. And you know it's kind of funny because where we're at today in today's world, like I have been managing all of the guest communication, guest relations, all of that stuff from Hawaii. So it's
Okay.
a 6 hour difference, so sometimes I get calls at like 2 in the morning, um, but it was okay. It generally worked out where uh, based on my time zone, the guests would kind of call like at normal hours, which was interesting. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, we were trying to do pretty much everything in the beginning.
Okay. And so with you guys doing that, what were some of the problems that you guys were trying to solve? And with those problems, what were those that really like frustrated you?
So the biggest thing, and I know we've talked about it quite a bit, the biggest thing that we were trying to solve in the beginning was how to automate as much as possible. How do we get this property to a point where we are completely hands off and we can go and focus on the next one?
Right.
And it didn't happen as fast as we wanted. We struggled quite a bit, and I think that's just I think it's just a part of this business. Every story I've heard and it's so funny. I was talking to another guy the other day, and I listened and I read about like a lot of these things, but it's not until you're actually doing it and you take action do you there's all these different nuances and variables that are thrown your way, so you can't really react to everything right away. um, but I would say that to what was hindering us getting to an automated point initially, I feel like was one, coordination with our cleaning company, and the quality of the cleaning were probably the hardest things that we would have. So when I'm checking in with a guest, right, and they're coming in and I have to give them a guarantee, right? I'm like, hey, every time I talk to them, I say, we have had a quality control team go through the home. They have checked the house and it is ready for you to stay there. We are ready to host you. We are looking forward to you being there. And it all starts with that initial, impression. And that starts with the host, right? And then it goes to when they first open that door to see the home. And that's where, the cleaning company comes in. It's like that home needs to it needs to be defect free. And I know that that's extremely hard to get to, but I guess we'll talk about that in a second. So automating that process, and the frustrating part was I would have guests arriving, and you've seen this, the same day booking. So like we allow same day turnover. So your company would come in and clean, 5 hours later, a guest is coming in to stay, right? And that transition right there is probably the hardest. And we ran into issues where the cleaning company would just not respond. And we'd be like, where is she? Like, is she on the way? Is she like, and we would not hear from her. And then she would show up like an hour before the guest is going to check in. And we were like, oh my God, like, this is not cool, man. Like, the guest is going to show up while she's there, she's cleaning, and it's going to be weird. And we were just like, oh, luckily, most of the time, the guest wasn't checking in until a little bit later. So it kind of bought us a little bit of a buffer. But man, that was extremely like stressful, because now I'm having to explain, and take time away and energy away to explain this variable that's now in our field. So that was one of them. And really that was a product of how we coordinated the cleanings, right?
Okay.
So the way that we would do it before is literally I'd have the Airbnb schedule and I'd print it out, and I would put like on a PowerPoint slide, like, clean here, like, these are the days that we need cleaning. And I
Yeah.
would specify, hey, you need to be here at 11 on this day, because
Okay.
a guest is checking in later. So it was a lot of time, energy just on bookings and in coordination. So that turned into just creating a host of variables for us.
Host of problems, huh?
Host of problems, yeah.
Okay.
And the next thing, if you have any questions about that, the next thing we'll move into is really just the quality and of the product we were getting from the cleaners. But if you have any questions on the first problem?
Well, what was the quality you were getting? Was it
Okay.
standard? Was it like okay, or were you guys getting
So
complaints with that?
here's how it happened. So at first, it was really good. We were very excited. We were like, wow, this lady is on point. She's cleaned the house for a long time. She knows what she's doing. She gets in, she gets out, no problem. However, over time, it really started to degrade. We saw issues with, things not being wiped down in the kitchen, things being left in the fridge, or like the fridge being gross. There was, bugs on the floor from we had the extermination company. That's a whole separate thing, but extermination, pest control, there'd be like dead bugs on the ground. So like, as soon as a guest walks in and there's a bug on the ground, they lose their mind. It is like the number one thing you can't let happen is have any type of bug in the home, which, one, it's Atlanta, Georgia. It's extremely difficult, even with an extermination company. But the other things were the laundry. And I know we've had a lot of conversations about that, but laundry would just be, there'd be dirty laundry. And so like all of these problems started happening more and more and more. And we saw our reviews go down and down and down. Like, we were just getting pummeled with our reviews and the cleanliness. So like, some guests will go in and they will be extremely focused on cleanliness. They'll look under beds. They'll open up cabinets. They'll open the fridge. They'll look for crumbs on the toaster. They'll look at all of the sheets and all of the towels. And if they see one stain, they are immediately contacting you. But then I would say that's like 5% of guests, 5 to 10. The other 90%, 95% are just wanting to go and have a good time and enjoy their the place, and aren't going to dig in to try and find a refund or something. But there are the few that do that. So quality was declining. I feel like it was crazy, man. Like, I was on the phone a lot. My wife could probably say the same. Like, I was getting stressed. Not only am I dealing with a full-time job at work, but I was like having stress come at me from this as well, and having to, talk to guests and give refunds, stuff like that. And it was a bummer. So yeah, that's kind of where the quality was before we started to reach out and find you.
Okay, well, let's transition over. where did you first hear about us and what piqued your interest with us?
Okay, yeah. So the first thing we did is, this at this point we had onboarded with Evolve, and we had heard about Evolve from Jimmy, one of my partners. His friend was, got him onto it, and we ended up onboarding with them. And they provide a lot of services, right? And one of those services is connecting you um, with local partners that they have who do cleaning, maintenance, local host type stuff. And so immediately when this was happening, I'm like, we need a new cleaner. Like, we cannot continue along this path. All I did was hit up Evolve, and they're like, all right, we're on the hunt. So they first search for their network partners. And I know we've talked about that a little bit, but the network partner is someone who is a company who's onboarded with Evolve that they communicate directly with to provide business. And so all of the network partners that they gave us, like, no one was getting back to us. We weren't, we were having a hard time finding a cleaning company. And I was like,
Hmm.
what? I'm like, there's got to be some cleaning companies out there in Atlanta. It's a big city. And, it was, probably a week or so until I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy I was working with through Evolve, he gave me your number.
Yeah.
And he said that, so how he found you was, I believe, because like there was other, I don't know because we were your first short-term rentals, right?
Yeah. You guys
Yeah.
were.
So he found you because your cleaning company was working with, a client of theirs, and somehow they found you in the system. It was either that or they were just kind of searching around the internet. To be honest, I don't really remember.
Okay.
Um, but you know, I I will tell you, I will just give you a quick synopsis of my initial impression and how that kind of went. So first, like, timeliness of getting back to us, and like, just, we could tell that you were ready, like your business was ready for something like what that we needed right away, because one, we could tell that you were aggressive and that you are, you're building your company up. And to me, that was like the perfect time to meet you, because we are in that kind of the same space. Like, we're very aggressive. We want to learn, we want to get better, and we want to grow our business. And we saw that in you right away. And just the overall, the time that you were willing to devote to us really stood out. So as a customer, um, you know, providing that initial timeliness, showing that you're aggressive and ready to go, and attention to detail, and like all the questions and everything that you were asking, I could just tell that it was going to be a growing opportunity for both of us. Like, it was right away. We were very excited. Like, I remember getting off the call with you and like talking with Jimmy and Rob, and we were just like, whoop, like, this is it. This is the guy. This is the company. And we were very, very excited. So I would say that was just my initial impression. And then, kind of moving from there, it was, you, like, seeing you kind of come into the home. You guys did the deep clean, and then you really started to kind of just build up the systems and processes that we all kind of work to agree upon over time. And, that is the next step. That is the next thing, that really, it was developing those systems and processes and the quality control measures that you and the team started to build and coordinate with us over time, that really started to make it great. So, yeah.
So with working with us, what areas of your business, what areas of your life have improved? If there's a amount you can measure, how much did they improve? Why do you think they improved? And if there's been like an ROI, maybe not necessarily financially, but just within the life, what do you think that has been so far?
Oh man, I would tell you, um, there really isn't a number I can put on it, but I will say that my my stress level and my confidence level has increased invaluably. It is, um, I'm at a point now where, you know, our trust in you and your company, um, I don't have to worry about what's going to happen, with when the guest shows up. Um, like that alone is, you know, I feel like we have increased our efficiency and our ability, 110%. Like it is from thinking about where we were and where we were just talking about and when we first started, and how we've been trying to build this automated system, but not only have it automated, but have it, you know, um, at like a 5-star, quality. Is we are on that path, and I would say that we are getting closer to being 100% automated, um, and that is it is thanks to your team, um, because it all starts like in everything that I've read and everything that I've listened to, the relationship with the short-term rental company, investment company, property management company, doesn't matter, with the cleaning company and the maintenance company behind that is paramount. If that relationship is not there and you don't have confidence and um, can't rely on one another, like it just breaks. It'll break your business, and it will you will not be as efficient. And yeah, like we have, I mean, our ratings. I guess I mean the easiest way I could tell you is we've had only 5-star ratings with our Magnolia property. So every rating on there, house has been there. I haven't had one call that has been like, hey, this is a problem. Other than the guest who smoked in and threw a Facebook live party. That was, but that's a variable. That we take that variable and then we put a control measure in, and then to try and eliminate that from happening again. But other than that, in Magnolia, it's been 5-star reviews in write-ups since we had that property. And you've been the only one who's been cleaning that. The Beecher has seen significant progress. I think we went from like a 2.75. That's how low we were. We were like pretty low. To a 3.75, and that's just because it takes time. And like we've only seen 4 or 5-star reviews since onboarding with you, and which has been, I mean, if you want to measure it that way, like we have seen significant progress over the last 6 months or so. So
I didn't know it was like that. So
yeah,
that's
been
warm
good.
food. I mean, we've been doing a pretty good job.
Yeah,
I'm with the cleaners
your,
now that
yeah,
they've been doing a lot.
your team has been doing a great job. You've been doing a good job, and yeah, I can keep talking about that for a while.
Well, but we getting towards the end. Lastly, just want to know, how likely are you to recommend us, and why should someone listening who's in the vacation rental space in Atlanta or just in any place, why should they take action right now with working with us?
So I would say there's a few things. One, I would absolutely recommend you, and if anybody, if you want to use me as a reference, to uh, continue that conversation or help lock in a potential client, they can call me at any time. Um, I would say that the number one thing that maybe not number one. There's multiple number ones, but there's a couple. The one thing I would say is not only your but your company's attention to detail and ability to grow um, and build those systems and processes into an everyday turnover um, product. So I would say that number one is you developing the checklist in the owner's closet. Like, man, that is huge. Checklist that shows every single thing that needs to be done. So as an aviator, that's all I use is checklists, right? If I don't have a checklist in front of me, I'm doing something wrong. Um, so as soon as I heard checklist, I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, because you're not going to forget, right? If it's sitting there in front of you, you're not going to forget. So checklist. And then also, I would say the follow-on quality control that you do to ensure that the service that your company is providing us is up to standard. Because it's all about building the system, implementing those systems, right? And then the process is you kind of checking up and making sure that everything is going according to plan. And you do that, and your company does that on a regular basis. And that has, knock on wood, we haven't had, really any hiccups. And I don't see that we will in the future at all. So I would say that, like, your ability to, one, develop those systems and processes and then implement them and follow up is huge. And that's something that does not exist, I don't think, very, very much in the market that you're in.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is just the quality of the product that you provide. So not only are you, like, the cleaning is like, right, like, so you guys are doing the cleaning and do a fantastic job, right? You have not seen or heard of any issues with the cleaning. And so that is already there. And we know that. I have trusted confidence that the cleaning is going to be done. It's going to be done to standard, and it's going to be really good. The second thing is that the quality of, not only now with, like, you guys handling resupply, handling offsite laundry, like, these are all the variables that we've worked with you on, and you have come in and developed a system and a process that's going to take care of that. And so not only do you have quality, does your company bring quality to the cleaning aspect, but you're willing to grow and build different processes to make us more efficient. And I couldn't ask for a better teammate, partner, client to do that. And it's been very beneficial, I think, for us and hopefully for you as well,
For sure.
as we continue to learn and we continue to get better. But yeah, attention to detail, overall quality, and your ability to adapt and to develop systems and processes to make us all better has not only made us more profitable, it's ensured that the guest has a quality experience, especially like in this COVID environment where people are more sensitive to cleanliness of the home and everything. But I think it's also offered you the ability to get creative and try and find ways to be more efficient and develop additional products and ways that your company can be more profitable and make more money.
Totally. And
So
so why do you think someone listening to this interview who's a vacation rental owner in Atlanta or anywhere around the world should take action right now and work with us?
because they will have complete confidence. They're not only will they have confidence in their turnover service, but their company will be more profitable. Absolutely. Their reviews are going to go up. They're going to see 4 or 5 star reviews, especially if they're having issues with cleanliness. efficiency, less stress, all of those things. Those are key indicators that I see and I know will be they'll be able to implement into their company to be better.
Okay, great. This was fantastic.
Good.
Thank you so much, Lehman, for taking the time to do this interview with me. Gonna get this
Absolutely.
edited and then I'll send it over to you so you can check it out when you have time. But I don't think you said anything that was too like too much information. But I
Yeah.
think this was a great interview.
Good. I think so too, man. I appreciate you wanting to talk to me.